Appallingly, each year Alaska State Troopers spend thousands of hours investigating crimes involving children who are victims of sexual abuse. In Alaska, the most common age for those experiencing sexual abuse is 15 years for girls and just 6 years of age for boys. This is a complex issue, but that does not mitigate the fact that it is unacceptable that Alaska's young people, who represent our future, are being victimized in such staggeringly high numbers. One of the 6 core missions of the Alaska State Troopers is to investigate major crimes, which includes sexual assaults and sexual abuses of minors. These cases are assigned to troopers in all areas of the state, but there are a few small groups of investigators who are dedicated exclusively to stopping the abuse and holding perpetrators accountable.
The folks that do these are investigators for child crimes. They're specialized investigators that have specialized training in child forensic interviewing. Our units, we specialize specifically in child abuse investigations, and we're the one that handle the vast majority of those throughout the state.
The Alaska Bureau of Investigation, or ABI, tackles Alaska's most serious cases. One of the most critical units within ABI is the Child Abuse Investigation Unit, or CAIU.
I think folks that do these investigations are people that care greatly about children and about the health and well-being of them.
Right.
And I do think it takes a special individual to do them. Not everybody can do these type of investigations. These are the most vulnerable victims. It's not like an adult that can kind of stand up for themselves and stand up to folks that are their caregivers or people that they trust in their life. These are the vulnerable children that somebody has to be their voice, has to work for justice for them, has to keep them safe.
We interview children by utilizing Child First. That's a protocol that utilizes open-ended questions in a child-friendly environment. We don't want children being interviewed by someone in a uniform or someone who would be intimidating. It needs to be in a child-neutral environment with a forensic interviewer.
And that interview tactic or strategy is very open-ended, so that you're not implementing any ideas or thoughts into the child's mind.
While there are investigators focused solely on these cases, it takes cooperation across many units within the department to be successful.
So we do work with a lot of the other ABI agencies, the major crimes units, the technical crimes unit in Anchorage. We work with them quite a bit on search warrant services and any needs that come in from like Western Alaska cases where the victim is now here or the suspect is here. We will do the interviews here, get the information back out to Western Alaska, though those cases are kind of seamless between the agencies. We also cover CARES in Anchorage in addition to the Children's Place. So all of the units within the state, whether it's a lot of major crimes, Fairbanks, Western Alaska, Juneau, we all work together as groups, and we will ask them for assist, and we will assist them as well. Between us and major crimes in the valley, we'll assist them with their major cases as well, with some of their homicide investigations, sex assaults. And we get called out to assist with them, and then they assist us the other direction as well with search warrant services and things.
ABI investigators frequently encounter several challenges during child abuse and child sexual abuse investigations.
The most challenging thing we have to deal with in Western Alaska in general is just the logistics of making everything happen. Something that we could easily jump in a vehicle in if we were on the road system and get to normally fairly quickly, 15 or 20 minutes, could take us, days to get to, just depending on what the weather's doing and that kind of stuff. The river is frozen, the river's broken up. Do we have a boat? Can we drive there? The plane's here, the plane's not here. We can't get on a flight for 2 hours and then the weather's not good. So there's a lot of things that just make it challenging for us.
Sometimes victims wait several years to make a report of sexual abuse, which creates challenges for investigators.
So if we've got evidence, that's great. If we have confessions, that's great. But we don't always have evidence in our cases, especially if they're historical.
If the report addresses historical abuse, these investigations essentially begin as a cold case. And since these types of cases can also be the most difficult to prove, primarily due to the lack of evidence and fading memories after such a long time, the primary positive outcome can simply be that the victims can finally get some help and hopefully some closure as well.
But when you don't have those things, we don't have confessions, we don't have physical evidence, it makes it harder to corroborate the case, the crime, this whatever we're looking into. So that makes it the difficult cases.
So the child crimes investigations it's a team response. It really depends. Like no one response is equal to the other. Each one is going to be a little different based on how the information comes in. A lot of times the troopers patrol is receiving the initial call, and they're basically triaging, getting that initial information. Out west, a lot of times the troopers are handling the calls from start to finish.
While the Alaska State Troopers dedicate significant resources to cases of child abuse and child sexual abuse, they still need more investigators to effectively address the problem.
So it would ideally, yes, we'd all like to have a team to work each case, but when you get 10 cases at one, during the week, plus what you've still got and whatever else comes in, I think it'd be hard to do that. Ideally, it would be nice, but I think it'd be hard.
Alaska State Trooper investigators do amazing work. They help a lot of people, but the department is struggling to effectively address the volume of cases. To better tackle the workload and improve the quality of the more difficult cases, more investigators dedicated to work child abuse and child sexual abuse cases are needed.
I joined the troopers to come to this unit. My heart and my passion has been investigating these types of cases and holding people accountable that need to be held accountable. So whenever I joined the troopers, it was with this in mind.
For all the things that we do as troopers, I can't think of anything that's more important than protecting our children. And Western Alaska's in such need. I think this is just really the place that I need to be to make the biggest difference in as many children's lives as I can.
The work performed by troopers demands uncommon mental strength. While most individuals might encounter one or two deeply traumatic events in their lifetime, our investigators immerse themselves daily in the heart of others' tragedies. This constant exposure to the painful realities of child sexual abuse often leads to vicarious trauma, where the emotional wounds of those they serve begin to resonate within themselves. Consider that throughout our careers, state troopers respond to countless family crises. Yet, the insidious nature of child sexual abuse investigations, with their intimate details of betrayal and violence, often leaves a particularly profound and lasting impact on the well-being of these brave men and women. The Alaska State Troopers cannot prevent these crimes from happening, but once we're called, we're duty-bound to do everything we can to protect our kids and ensure these depraved perpetrators pay the price for their violent and deplorable behavior. It's our calling, and we'll do everything we can to fight for those who can't fight for themselves.